All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get started. A couple of things. First off, we are going to be repurposing this, and it's going to be our next episode of the Leads Geeks podcast. So we're going to take the audio today, and we're going to share it on our Leads Geeks podcast. You'll see that sent out. Also, because you guys are here today, you guys will all get a copy of this recording of the webinar as well. So if there's any questions you have or anything like that, if you don't get a copy of the recording, just let us know. We'll get it to you. The other final thing I wanted to hit on is please ask questions in the Q&A. Matt, I'll take the lead on maybe because I want to feature you today, man. I'm gonna brag you up a little bit, talk a little bit about you, and all that good stuff. But I'll make sure to ask those questions to you, Matt.
Sweet.
Couple big things that I want to hit on. Today's whole focus is how to text leads. And we're going to talk in a little bit about how the texting game is changing and how some rules are changing due to TCPA and Twilio and all that fun stuff. We'll talk about that. That's kind of the boring stuff, but really, really necessary. Some texting best practices and don'ts, because some people do some really stupid stuff via text. And then we're going to talk about really some best questions, and Matt has some things queued up of things that he thinks you all need to be hearing if you want to be great at converting leads via text message.
Yeah.
Matt, am I missing anything?
No. Let's just hop into it, man. Let's go. I'm excited.
All right, y'all. Well, first off, again, I'm Robby T with Hatch Coaching, and now we can say Matt McKenzie with Hatch Coaching. Welcome to the club. Matt has joined us as a lead conversion ISA coach and is now taking on the call. And I've always said Matt is another brother of mine from another mother. I was a part of Matt's wedding. Thank you again for that. More importantly, though, Matt is one of my favorite people in the world and such a great human being. But Matt has joined us as an ISA lead conversion coach. So if you need some help with anything we talk about today, hit us up. We'll get you connected with Matt. Now that we got that out of the way, Matt, let's maybe start here, right? It's really unique because I'm actually going to start this whole webinar off with something that we've been discussing between you, myself, Patrick, and Mike. We got like a lead conversion nerds Marco Polo conversation that's always going on between us. And I'm going to start this how to text leads by saying, y'all, you should probably be calling your leads.
And it is texting.
And texting. You got to be doing both. What's really, really unique is both Matt and I, a year ago, we were advocates that calling leads probably wasn't worth the fruit. And it was actually alienating a lot of opportunities. We have noticed that calling leads has become more fruitful again. And I can't tell you why. My assumption, my guess is that the amount of spam calls that people have been getting has diminished rapidly and fallen off the face of the cliff compared to what it was a year or two ago. And when all those spam calls were happening, nobody would answer random phone calls. What we're seeing is a uptick in answer rate. So if you've heard us both talk about how you don't need to be texting your PPC leads, both Matt and I would tell you, or you don't need to be calling your PPC leads, sorry. We're both here to tell you that you should be calling your PPC leads. Matt, what do you want to add?
Yeah, so let me preface this, guys. We live in a world where people can get on Amazon and in 2 clicks of the button have their package delivered. We live in a highly personalized, catered to you type world, and a world where people filter through a bunch of noise and junk on social media all the time. I think back a year ago, this was still true. It is irresponsible to put people on an automated drip campaign without any sort of personalized touch or follow-up.
Sure.
And this is how Robby and I write all of our campaign messages, by the way. It is personalized as best as it can to scale with automation.
Correct.
Yep. We don't put a message in our campaigns if it's not going to generate some sort of conversation, come from curiosity, and not be salesy. Yep. So I think that it's not just about calling your PPC leads, on top of texting them. It's maybe calling and leaving a voicemail, believe it or not. What I've noticed is I leave a couple voicemails and people call me back because I'm actually a real human. They realize, oh, that's the person that's been sending me all these texts. Okay, great. I'm gonna call them back. People at least check your voicemail. They will. They might call you back. They might answer your text message because of that.
They'll probably read your voicemail, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll read it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here, I would make it very highly personalized. And here's what we've been doing. And it's been working. Hey, Robby, and you guys can write this down verbatim. This being recorded so you can watch it later. Yep. Hey, Robby, it's Matt. Sorry I missed you. I just noticed that we just started sending you some alerts for homes in the Denver area. And I was curious if you were just kind of surfing around for fun or maybe thinking about making a move soon. Either way, I want to make sure this is dialed in for you. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. That's literally the voicemail. And that is personalized. Hey, Robby, I've been sending you homes in blank area. I'm curious if you're just surfing or if you're actually thinking about making a move. Either way, I want to get this dialed in for you. You're coming from a place of service. We're in a service-based industry. We have to cater to the people that we're talking to. And the good news is if you're calling through your database, hopefully you're not calling off a spreadsheet. Get a database, number one. Call through your database, look at what they've been seeing. And just say, hey, we've been sending some homes in the Fargo area and the Bismarck, wherever. Like, make it tailored to them. Like say, hey, we've been sending you some stuff. I don't know if it's even helpful. I'm not sure if we can help you. So that's number one. I would leave a voicemail when you call now because it's highly personalized. And then what I've seen, guys, is people will actually text you back. Most people would still rather communicate by text message, but they want to know it's a real human. I get at least 25 spam texts a day, y'all. At least. And you know what I do? Delete, report junk. Like it's something that's been coming and I just haven't gotten to it. As soon as I get to it, delete, report junk. You know what that does? It blocks you. So don't just add to the noise. You gotta be personalized. And you know, it's okay to jump into an automated campaign and manually send a message every once in a while. I've done that.
Always.
You know, especially your priority alerts. If you're using a database and you have priority alerts, like people coming back to your website, looking at properties over and over and over and over and over again, it's probably a good idea to call them. Number one, leave a personalized voicemail. They don't answer.
Send
them a text. And if you don't want to put thought into writing that text, here's the simple thing. Go to ChatGPT and say, please write me a text for a real estate lead. Looking at homes on my website, that has the best chance of getting them to engage. If you really don't want to go that far, like if you really want it done for you, go use ChatGPT. I'll do a whole nother webinar on that. But really, at the end of the day, guys, we have to be highly personalized in our follow-up, regardless if it's phone or text. Like we got to serve people at a level that like they feel like they're not just a number in a database. So
totally, I love it. Matt, somebody had requested that you type out. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe, let's see here. Yeah, type it out somehow. And then maybe we can send in the following recording, the voicemail that Matt is sending out to people. The other big thing that we should all know with texting that is coming to the whole real estate game, I think Sierra and Real Geeks were probably the first two amongst maybe some others, that there is now TCPA guidance. So the Telecommunications Protection Act, I think is what it stands for. And really Twilio's cracking down on sending out mass amounts of messages without opt-in language. And basically what's happening is almost every CRM, Sierra again just started doing this, they're going to be auto appending language that says something like reply, stop to cancel. And this is going to be coming down to everybody. It's just a matter of when. And what we found, this is the biggest thing that we found, is that if you sandwich, I call it the sandwiching technique, but then I don't know, it's what it reminds me of. If you use a sandwiching technique where 1 minute later you send something out like, let me know what you're thinking, it reduces your amount of stops that you receive, because that's probably what you also do, Matt, is when you get annoying, you just say stop. That's kind of how we're all hardwired. If somebody sees that next text and says, let me know what you're thinking, they're 90% less likely to reply stop. They might say, no, I'm just looking for fun. I was just checking things out. Whereas if they just end on reply stop to cancel, oof, it is the kiss of death. And when somebody replies stops, you can't send them any text messages unless they opt back in and say start, which is never, ever, ever, ever going to happen for criminy's sake. So that's the headwinds that we're facing in the texting world. There's just some changes. I think you need to be doing both. As Matt said earlier, we need to be texting our leads and calling and leaving personalized touch, sending that personalized text. I want everybody to write this down. We need to do our best to stand out from everybody else. And it's those little things, heck, in the automations when we try to write it, including their name or little pieces helps a ton. By the way, Matt just sent me the text, so I will make sure to, for his voicemail, I'll make sure to share that with you all here a little bit later.
Yeah, and one thing on nudge text, by the way, the one thing that we've been seeing that's working really, really well after that initial text, like, hey, so you're on our website, blah, 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 whatever you're sending. Hey, is this even Robby?
Mm-hmm.
Actually doing a courtesy to people, because when people sign up if you're just looking at a PPC lead, a forced registration PPC lead, there's a probably 25, 30, 40% chance somewhere in there that's the wrong information. And instead of continuing to then barrage that person for the next X amount of days or years with all your text messages, maybe do them the courtesy of asking, hey, is this even blank? And here's what I noticed, guys. People will respond saying, oh yeah, this is who's this. That's the simple, like they'll either, or hey, no, it's not. And then just apologize. Like, it gives you a chance to at least verify if you even have the right information. Going above and beyond what most people are doing. So I would do that.
Truth. Amen. By the way, thanks to Via, because she basically wrote down what you wrote down and shared it with people, Matt. Oh, I said it. Via's a god in this real estate game. Look at that. She's holding us up. She's carrying us, man. All right, we got a couple questions here, Matt. So I'm gonna just go down here. Someone said, wouldn't let me know what you think also end with auto append reply stop message. It does not. They usually just send it out to the first message that's going out. And then the first message going out every 30 days is usually the logic. Any subsequent messages between now and then, it would not receive it. Also, if a lead responds anything back ever, it stops that message in Sierra at least from going out. And I'm assuming most CRMs are going to follow that logic. So Kelly Thompson asks, are you sending out personal items while running hatch plans on new leads? Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Matt, why don't you kind of tell a story about that? Because I think you do this.
Priority alerts. We all get those. If you're in Sierra, you're in FUB, whoever, Ylopo, whoever you're using for your primary search tool that these people are engaging with.
Yep.
You're going to get an email that says something like, and by the way, if you don't do this now. Do this freaking now. If you get an email from Sierra that says, hey, Robby has returned to the website and is looking at this property, blah, 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 blah. Not only should it be a priority alert in your system, but you should also get an email. You can even set it up to get a text message. Guys, treat those as new leads. This is how we encourage our ISAs. Treat those as new leads. Like, they're a brand new lead. What do you do with a brand new lead? Well, you get a hold of them and you try to get a hold of them in the first 5 seconds. At least that's what you should be doing. So treat those like new leads. Absolutely. You got people that are returning to your website and they go, 6 or 7 visits without even nothing but the automated plan. Like, don't do that. That's a behavior that needs an action. So anytime that we're processing a lead in our databases, we should be looking at it as, hey, this person is doing this. What does that warrant from me? How can I serve this person? Because they seem to be looking at a lot of homes. It seems like they're a little more interested in someone who just wanted to view one property, right? So go the extra mile, look at your priority alerts. That's what I do it off of behavior versus just everything, right? I look at behavior. It's really, really important. So
I love that. By the way, I did share Matt's direct written version as well to Via's, and they're basically the same thing. So you guys should see that. Matt, we got some other good questions here that I wanna get to. First off, somebody said, "What about WhatsApp? We are in Europe, Balkans." Man, look at this. Hatch Coaching has gone international here, like legitimately, not just Canadian, or not just Canada. So I believe Alex, I'm not sure about WhatsApp simply because I'm curious how you're getting their WhatsApp information. I honestly can't speak to it too much.
I do know, Alex, if you are, I don't know what CRM you're in, if you're in Sierra, Follow Boss, but maybe let us know. I do know that Follow Boss is working on an integration with WhatsApp, specifically for international real estate folks that are, operating within a CRM. So, but as far as I would know, if you have a CRM that you use locally, not sure if it automates text for you, not sure what it does, but make sure that you have some sort of follow-up cadence, even if you have to do it manually. Make sure that you have some sort of follow-up cadence for all the leads that are coming to your database, and treat a PPC lead different than you would treat like a property inquiry. Differentiate the way you follow up. So
you got to have different, especially different language, and that's what we do with our automated plans: is different language references, different activity. A really good example is PPC is just kind of checking out some homes on a website, where a Zillow or Realtor.com, of course, are raising their hand saying, "I want information about something." That actually ties in well, Matt. Before we get into some other things, somebody said, "How much are you relying on calling someone as soon as they're inquire on your site in relation to texting them first?" I think most of us are automating our texting to go out almost immediately to leads, and then we're calling as soon as possible as well. I know in Sierra Interactive, and I'm sure other CRMs have very similar tools, you can use something called like First to Claim in Sierra, where it calls somebody, and before it even sends a message, it gives you a call attempt if one of our ISAs answers the phone, and then it would call Matt. So I don't think it actually really matters that much whether you're calling or texting first, but you should just be doing it as quickly as possible. Matt, you sent me a polo just a few days ago, and you had named that you kind of spot checked some of your competition with this.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you tell that story of spot checking your competition and what happened? And what does that mean when I say that? What do I mean?
I did it with a friend of mine.
Okay.
Who will remain nameless for now.
A friend in real estate, you mean?
Friend in real estate.
Okay.
A friend in real estate, a fellow team leader.
Cool.
And what we did, he was having some concerns around what his search site and all this stuff. And I was like, "Hey, dude, let's just do a test. Let's just do it right now today. Okay, let's pick 4 teams that we know, and we're gonna sign up as a lead on their website."
One of my favorite things to do, by the way.
Well, and we did it to our team, by the way, too, and I didn't tell the team. But this is so out of the 4 teams, the only person that this guy received contact from immediately was our team, simply because we have an automation set up that sends literally within the first 10 minutes, that person gets a text. They get a nudge text as well that Robby and I were just talking about. There's an email, and then we called them. There's 4 follow-ups in 10 minutes. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds like abrasive. The abrasiveness, folks, is not in the follow-up attempts. The abrasiveness is in the language that you use when you get them on the phone or respond to their text message.
One more time for me, please. That was good. You don't even know how smart that was.
The abrasiveness is not in the amount of follow-up attempts. It's in the way that you communicate with these people when you get them on the phone or when you start texting with them, which we're going to dive into today.
So it's a content. It's a conversation, not the attempts.
Correct.
Okay.
It's conversations, the way you do things. It's important.
Cool. I agree 1,000,000%.
So anyways, guys, it's very simple in your CRM. just have it set up. If you have automated texting, have it set up to go out as soon as they get in. I know in Sierra, it will tell you when they're on when they're on your website, like a little green dot or whatever, and Follow Boss does the same thing. It shows up, hey, this person is literally on your website right now. And studies show that your chances of getting into conversation, this is not even converting, conversation, go down 300% if you don't call or text or try to get a hold of somebody in the first 3 minutes. 3 minutes, guys. You got 3 minutes. Shoot your shot. Not to say that you can't get them on later down the road, because we do that all the time, but it becomes increasingly harder. So, and here's at the end of the day, when new leads are coming into your system, the way that it's a mindset game, guys. And this is a little bit off topic, but it's a mindset game when it comes to that. It's oh my gosh, another new lead. I promise you, if you have that mindset, and I've been guilty of this before, you will not convert anybody. But if Robby came into my CRM, the mindset that I'm encouraging the ISAs on our team to take, and myself, what I'm trying to instill in myself daily is, wow, that is a great opportunity. Who knows what Robby is going through, why he's even looking. I want to find out.
Yep. I've always put it this way, Matt, to echo it. If a lead comes in and you do nothing with it, what you're telling the universe is, nah, bro, I'm good. Pass. I don't need anything else. I don't need more opportunities. Either way, Matt, you tested 4 of your competitors in your market, which they're pretty good competitors. Is that fair to say? You knew their names.
They're great.
And 75% of them you heard crickets from.
Yep. I think I heard something the next day from a few.
That is appalling. And that can't happen, y'all, because as Matt kind of said, when I'm interested, I want to talk about it right now. And more importantly, let's just name something that's very true about leads. They are not monogamous, y'all. They're not only looking at homes on your website. Even Zillow, people leave Zillow to go on realtor.com. They go on Redfin. They go on all these other websites that they found, your random PPC sites that you have. They're not monogamous. They're all over the place. And there's a guy like Travis or Matt that's trying to steal that opportunity from you all day long. You have to be getting to these leads as quickly as possible. And Matt, I just got a name, man. My biggest fear, I get to speak at our at a mastermind in June, and I'm going to talk about how my biggest fear right now is, now that real estate is not as hard as it was 6 months ago, my biggest fear is people get soft again. We start playing basketball. We think that we're good, and we saw how detrimental that can be. That's my biggest fear is, oh, I'm busy. I don't need to work those leads. Nah, you do. Because there's such a lag in this game of 3 to 6 months. All right, let's keep going. Somebody said, I'm going to power through these. Someone said, I thought immediately reaching out after they visit the website feels creepy. Is it acceptable? I've always done it, and I don't think it's creepy.
Again, it's the way you do it, not what you do, but how you do it.
Yep, I agree, 100%. Also, if you're like too specific, hey, I saw that you looked at this house 32 times, that can get a little creepy. But if you just use language, hey, I saw that you were checking out some homes again in Fargo on our website, so a little more generic, I think that flies all day long. If you say, hey, I saw that you sent this house to a friend, creepy. Like when you're too specific, it's creepy, I think. So stay away from that. All right. What is your recommendation for texting a cold as ice client to get them to respond again? There's a couple that I would recommend, but I think this is probably a good place for the aliens message. If you guys haven't heard of our aliens message, it basically says, hey, Matt, I've tried reaching out a few times and I've heard nothing back. That tells me one of 3 things. 1, you're no longer interested in making a move. 2, you're still interested, but you've been too busy to respond. Or 3, you're abducted by aliens. And in that case, let me know, and I'll reach out to Elon Musk or NASA to come and rescue you. And we get a stupid amount of responses to that of people that have ghosted you. Or honestly, sometimes you just need to nudge the message to the top people's inbox. Just literally say, hey, just wanted to make sure that you saw this. Want to nudge this to the top of your inbox. Something along those lines. Or, hey, wanted to make sure I'm not dropping the ball. Something along those lines. A little nudge can go a long way. What do you want to add, Matt?
Yeah, so I use one text when I'm just cold as ice. Define what that is. You know, in our organization, it's somebody who, you know, we've made 20, 30, 40 of contact attempts and they haven't answered. Here's what I notice gets more responses. The aliens text is amazing. Send that. If you're using our plans, send that. Another one, if you're thinking of more manual follow-up, here's one I like to use. Hey, Robby, tried to reach out a few times, but haven't heard anything back. ... Skip 2 lines. Where should we go from here?
I like it.
Very simple. And more people get that. They're like, oh, shoot, I missed something. Like, that's the typical response. Like, hey, I'm sorry. I must have missed it. What is this about again? Now you're in conversation.
Yep.
Guys, people are busy. They have lives. Like, you got to think about all the things. And this is part of, like, I'll repeat that here in a second. This is part of the reason that we're in a service-based industry. We have to think from other people's perspective. If it's somebody looking at homes, God knows what they have going on in their life. They have a job. They might have kids. They might have sports practice later. They're driving. They're in a work meeting. Like, those things, you have to understand, you reaching out to them is interrupting their day. I'd almost think it's better to apologize, saying, hey, I know I'm interrupting, but I was just curious if you're blank, blank, blank. Like, it's okay to apologize. Like, hey, I know I'm interrupting your day. So I'll be quick. I actually got to get back to something too, but I had a second and you came to mind. Like, it's okay to do that stuff because you have to understand they're busy. We're interrupting their life. Unless they actually, like, unless it's a different type of lead, they actually raise their hand and your follow-up's different. So, but just for the average PPC lead, understand that when they text you back or call you back, they're taking time out of their busy day to, like, go talk to you. So honor that with the same level of commitment to serving them.
And you named some distractions there. And maybe if you just want to type that up real quick, Matt, while I'm ripping on this for a second, and then you can share it again. In addition to all the distractions that you just named, people are busy. They got kids. People's cell phones are literally a distraction machine. They're constantly getting notifications, and the amount of people that have simply ghosted you because they forget is surreal. And one of the biggest things that we've done at Hatch, whether it's Hatch Realty or people in our ecosystem, is we utilize something that we call an active text tag and campaign. And the whole point behind it is people that were actively texting, because that's what stinks about texting, right? Is these conversations move like molasses and people ghost you and they forget about you. What we do is we add them to this thing called active text. And what that plan does is it reminds you a few days later to look at the lead again, because when I send a text off to Matt, I kind of forget about Matt, to be very honest. And unless I have somewhere to look to make sure Matt has responded, I would completely forget about you until you respond to me. And the amount of people that you just have to simply go in and say something like, hey, just wanted to make sure you saw this, or to use something like Matt's put. By the way, you can all, Matt, do you want to share that? Do you want to say it again one more time? I'll put it in the chat for people.
A couple people have asked, so I'll do it real slow.
Yeah, please.
Hey, Robby, reached out a few times and haven't heard anything back. ... Skip 2 lines. Where should we go from here?
And I just posted it in the Q&A as well, so they should see it.
Sweet.
We need to assume positive intent with leads, y'all. Good God, that's what we're getting at here. You don't have to convert all these leads, but I think far too many people give up early because somebody doesn't respond the first time, the second time, the 15th time. It takes effort, y'all, and you got to do things that stand out. I love that.
The average, can I share this? This is a statistic from the National Association of Realtors, which looks at data from across the US out of every brokerage, every market. The average amount of times it takes until you get a conversation with somebody that's on your website looking at homes is 25. The average, not saying every, the average, 25. Call, text, or email, whatever it is, 25. So if you're giving up at 4, well, Buster, you got 21 more attempts before the average person might respond to you. So don't give up. Persistence. And you guys, do you know what persistence? A lot of people like, and this is a mindset thing again, persistence and just putting your foot forward. You know what it does into the mind of the consumer at the end of the day? They are like, wow, this guy, and people tell me this all the time. Well, you know, the reason that I agreed to sit down with you and the reason why I want to work with your team is because when you first started messaging me, you were persistent and you weren't annoying.
Yep.
And you were serious. Like it wasn't salesy. I felt like, hey, this was on my terms, whether I responded to you or not, whatever, but you were persistent. You didn't give up. Most people messaged me for 4 or 5 days and then I didn't hear from them again.
Or nothing at.
Yep. So it's how you do it. So.
Spot on. I love it. Somebody asked, what is the example of your drip campaign sequence? I'll just kind of talk about that from a 10,000 foot view. Really, it's essentially probably calling it depends on lead source, by the way, but calling every day or every other day for at least a month or two is kind of the cadence I'm seeing a lot of people have success with right now. And then the drip campaign is reaching out day 1 a few times, day 2, maybe skipping a day, going on a day 4, skipping a day or 2. So on day 6 or 7, essentially you're doing probably 20 automated attempts in the first 30 days, kind of spaced out, and it's more upfront. So what I mean by that is there's more heavy upfront, and then it becomes a little more spaced out over time. That's generally what we see for the most part. Micah asks, 25 reach outs before there's an appointment, or is this before I get them on the phone? Do you want to clarify that, Matt?
Yeah, this is for conversation, not appointments. But if you're doing this right, we track over here, we track conversations to appointment. And we were looking at this the other day. Our ISA team currently has a 40% chance of setting an appointment with someone if we get them on the phone or have a conversation with them. You can track that via, things like Sisu is a tool we use pretty heavily. Your database should be able to at least tell you how many conversations you've had by tracking. And by the way, a conversation is a 2-way text message. It's not like I send Robby a text, he sends one back. That counts as a conversation. That's one. It doesn't, if I send him another text and he responds, that doesn't count as another one. That's one conversation. And then the other thing for our organization is it's got to be a phone call lasting for more than 2 minutes. So conversations to appointment, but it's all conversation. You want to get them in conversation. So, yep.
I love it. All right, so let's, I think we've talked a lot of 10,000 foot view tactical things. Matt, I want to transition to the conversations, and this is where I'm going to actually get really excited, because what I've noticed is in the conversations where most people actually screw up, they make big mistakes all the dang time. And let's talk about the 3 things that you named to me that you wanted to hit on today. So let's start with the first thing that you named you wanted to hit on. I'll let you run with it.
Yeah, mirroring and matching. It's not just over the phone, folks. It's on text message too. So lead texts you back. I'm just looking. Your response better not be a paragraph. Your response better be short and sweet and to the point, because you need to mirror and match them. People are, you can tell what type of person someone is by them texting you back. If they're doing a long paragraph response, respond in kind. Like, ask them more, go into it, like whatever it is. Mirror and match the style and the method by which they're texting you, like just short and sweet stuff, back. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like you're on a phone call with somebody. And what I see people do so often is the lead will text back, oh, I'm looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath in the blank area. And it's super short and sweet. And then we go, oh, okay, well, what steps have you determined to, like, blah, 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 blah? Have you been pre-approved yet? And by the way, were you open to this area, that area? We're sending it all in one text because we want to get it out of the way.
Yep.
I get it. That is a big turnoff to people, because what they see when they read that is, I don't have time to answer this, so I'm just not going to answer. Like, you have to mirror and match them. So very simply, like, if somebody's texting, and it's always short, it isn't a long form. I'm not even talk about long form. If people are texting you in paragraphs, go off, like, ask them about everything because they want to talk.
Yep.
But if it's stuff, guys, keep it short, keep it sweet, mirror and match. Very simply, like that in that particular example, somebody just asked, Tamara just asked, and I'll answer this right now. How do you respond to I'm just looking? Hey, great. Out of curiosity, what has you interested in real estate? Nice, short and sweet.
Amen.
That's it.
Where do people go wrong with that, Matt? What do they send? What's the worst thing that you think people could be sending?
Well, when are you thinking you're looking to buy? It's all about the sale. Like, you got to take the sale off the table, y'all. It's just a conversation. We're not even sure if we can help yet. You should approach every single conversation where you're not even sure you can even help yet. It's actually disarming for the other person, by the way, when you tell them that. Hey, Robbie, I'm not even quite sure we can help yet. We'd have to learn a little bit more about what had you interested in real estate to really determine if we could help or not. It disarms them because nobody else is saying that, I promise you. But another way you can handle the just looking thing, nice, short and sweet. Robbie, help me see things from your perspective. What has you looking at homes?
I love it.
Very short and sweet. So, yep.
I want to reiterate some of these things where I think so many people have gone wrong in a lot of these conversations is they don't instantly hear back from somebody when they say, they don't hear, oh, I want to go buy a house. They hear, I was just checking things out for fun, or I was just kind of curious. And so many people give up at this point. And I can't emphasize enough why you should not be doing that. You can't be giving up at that point. We need to be turning that question into a question, just like Matt did. The other big thing is we need to be much, and everybody should write this down. We need to be asking open-ended questions, y'all. We need to be asking open-ended questions. So when they respond, I was just checking things out, just seeing what's going on. Something like, well, tell me about that. What does that mean to you? And it's shocking simply how many people will respond and tell you a more in-depth response. And it's shocking, Matt, how normal is it for people to be sharing sensitive information, even via text to you?
Not normal. You have to have a very deep level of trust. In there, you have to have earned that.
Okay.
And that is not very quickly earned. Very seldom. And it happens still. I find it's probably like 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 text messages deep where they're really starting to open up. And here's what Robbie and I say all the time, y'all. People's true motivation lies way beneath the surface. So the expectation that they're just going to tell you that when you ask them what's motivating them to move is preposterous. Because think about it. If you were talking to a stranger, you wouldn't tell them jack squat right off the bat either. That's just what we do as human behavior. We need to understand human behavior. So when you're, especially when, and we can go into this a little bit, motivation and texting. How do you discover somebody's true motivation? You're probably going to have to ask for clarification. This happens all the time. Well, we're just thinking about getting a new place. Okay. Well, why is he thinking about getting a new place? Or what are you looking to change about where you're at currently?
So look at that. Everybody should write that down. When somebody says, I'm looking to get a new place, Matt is literally taking their answer and just simply turning it into a question. What has you looking to get a new place?
Yeah.
It's not any more complicated than that.
No, it's very simple. Take my probably the most secret skill here, guys, is the ability to take somebody's response and use their own words to reflect back to them and ask it in a question. Like, that is a skill. If you can do that, it's not just real estate, it's going to help you in life.
So let's do this real quick, Matt. Jessica, she's in our ISA mastermind that we do for Hatch Mastermind. She had said somebody had wanted to find out more about the value of their home. She turned into a good question. She asked what had them interested in the value of their home, and they said they were looking to see if they had enough equity to pull out money. Where would you take that, Matt?
What do you not know? I'm always asking me, what do I not know? Okay, so they're going to pull out money. They want to pull equity out. Well, why do they want to pull equity out? So I have to ask the question.
So literally, what would you send as a text to that?
Yep. Jessica, just so I can see things from your perspective, what are you guys thinking about pulling equity out of your house?
It's that simple. Right? Because you have no idea what they're going to say. Zero idea what they're going to say.
I have reverted, folks, to asking people to help me see things from their point of view, help me see things from your perspective, help me see things through your eyes. I have reverted to very early on in the conversation, until they open up to me, just asking for permission to walk a mile in their shoes. That's it. Because what are the two things that people want to talk about? Themselves. People naturally want to talk about themselves. Everybody wants to talk about themselves. Yep. And what is the other thing that question does, guys, is it, whether it's text, phone call, it doesn't matter. It helps that person feel seen, heard, and loved, which is the core need of every human on planet Earth. So they said they aren't looking to sell. Okay.
Yep.
We're just gonna keep going. I love this. Okay. So you're not looking to sell. That being said, what were your plans for that equity?
Yeah. Because I actually think, if I had to guess, when you ask that question, you're not asking if they were going to sell. I think if you asked if they're going to sell, they're going to say, I'm not looking to sell. You're asking, well, help me understand what's causing you to look into getting that equity. And Matt, let's say they're not looking to sell. What do we do?
Don't follow up with them in 2 years. I assure you that. You need to ask another question. I'd probably frame it around somewhere around what Robby just mentioned. Okay, well, what's causing you to explore how much equity you have in your house? What's going on in your world, Robby, that is has you wondering about your equity?
And you have no idea where it's going to go. Let's say that they say, I don't know, we're thinking about doing a renovation, or we're running into some financial issue that we need some money for. It just helps you get clarity on what it may be. And it's really funny because sometimes they'll say things and it won't sound like they're looking to sell. And then it comes down to, they might just need to sell. You don't know.
Guys, if you haven't, I mean, this is a big hot button in our neck of the woods, property freaking taxes. Most people are looking into home evaluation now because they're about to contest their property taxes because they went up so much. This is something you should probably be doing as just a service to your community. It is very easy for You should be learning how to run a comparative market analysis, by the way. If you're an ISA, please, for the love of God, learn how to do that.
Sure.
That's a kick in the pants I had to give myself recently. I was like, I need to know how to do that so I can provide that as a service for somebody, because they're going to remember that I did that for them for free. It's not that hard. It takes you 5 minutes. It's 5 to 15 minutes. If you're using like a system like Cloud CMA, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yep.
Whatever. Separate topic. The point is the conversation. If they are using their equity to do a renovation, if they are using their equity to pay down some debt, just ask for understanding. That's it. You're just trying to understand, because at the end of the day, it might lead to where I'm talking with Robby. And there you go. He's trying to pay off his credit cards. Jessica's doing this in real time, folks. She's literally doing this in front of our eyes. It's amazing.
Yep.
I love it. Paying off credit cards and getting things done around the house. Okay, great. At least you have an understanding of that. And
Yep.
maybe you could provide some suggestions or some help in paying down credit cards, or eliminating debt, or contesting property taxes, or things like that. It's not always going to end in an appointment, but what I promise you will is when you have that conversation, you provide the value, and you continue to stay in touch with them and say, let's say I'm calling Robby back in 6 months. I'm like, hey, Robby, it's Matt. We talked a little bit about how you're using your equity to renovate your current home. I had a second before I went home for the day, and I was curious how the renovation's going or how it ended up. Oh, Matt, I'm really glad you called. We've been thinking long and hard about our situation. We love our house. We did these renovations, but it has us thinking like maybe about an investment property. What does that look like? Oh my gosh, what just happened? That person became a lead that you can set appointment at, a person, not a lead, because leads are people. That person just became someone you can help. And do you think, folks, that they're more open to having that conversation with you now? Yes, but it's only because of the level of service and listening and helping them and making them feel good, making them feel heard and seen and loved. They're going to have that conversation with you, not anybody else. That's the type of business you want in your CRM. So, might not always end in an appointment, and that is okay. Stop being attached to the outcome.
And sometimes what it really comes down to is, I call this, it helps you justify your next action. Every next action should be justified. And what that really comes down to is, this person may not be worth following up with for a year or two based off your conversation. Well, now it's justified. Follow up in a year or two and have that conversation. Where so many people go wrong is someone says, oh, I'm not interested. I was just looking for fun. All right, no worries. Have a great day. Keep using our website. Okay, you're literally lighting money on fire. Or when somebody says, there's no way I'm looking to sell, you give up too soon and your follow-up isn't justified. You just you write it off. There is a balance here of justifying what happens next. And Matt, what's happening here is, as you ask these open-ended questions, people are giving you salient information. They're giving you information that helps you make the best decision of what comes next or what doesn't. All right, we gotta. Oh, go ahead.
I had this example happen to me yesterday. I was texting with a lead, and they were like, "We're not in a position to even be thinking about moving right now. My wife and I have to talk through all these different things. There's a lot of factors at play." Most people would just move on. I just simply asked, hey, I think his name is Dave. Dave, help me see things from your perspective here. What are the factors at play? That's all I asked. And he listed them out. And he was like, it could be 6 months, it could be a year. But we just need to talk through all of this stuff. It's a big move for us. Okay, Dave. Just so you know, whether 4 months, 5 years, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support you when the time is right.
Matt, your internet's being weird, buddy. Are you back yet?
Am I back?
There we go. Yep, you're back now.
So disarm them, tell them, hey, it's okay if you don't have to buy or sell at a house to talk to me. Like, it's okay. I want to be here regardless, but just want to understand things from your perspective. What are some of the factors at play? Then you go deeper into it. And then what I discovered with Dave was it was not the right time to have this conversation. But, and I simply asked, hey, Dave, would you be open-minded to us having this conversation at a later date? Because it seems like right now, from what you're telling me, that you and your wife have got to really talk through some major things. Yes, absolutely. Thanks for your time today. Literally is what he said. I look forward to speaking with you in the future. So I'm going to follow up with that person. But it's okay. I'm not attached to setting appointments. I just want to help people and I want to understand them. Like, that's it.
And again, what this does is it helps you operate off of better information.
Yep.
It's really that simple.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here real quick. Someone asked about Insta DMs. By the way, do you integrate them in your CRM? We do not. It's not the worst idea, but I don't know if any CRMs automate that, to be honest, but
there's a few that will. I know Fob is working on something for that. But it and you can do it through Zapier as well. If you're super Zapier savvy, you can figure that out. That is way above my knowledge. I will tell you, like, I'm good at conversations. I'm mildly dangerous in systems, but it's way above my pay grade. But if you can figure out a way to integrate your Instagram DMs into your CRM, go for it. If you're in FUB, I do know that there is a guy that is working on that solution. So if you want more information about that, just shoot me a DM or Robby a DM and we can get that to you. So
someone also asked to use emojis, and that answer is absolutely just don't overdo it, for God's sakes. Don't put 40 emojis into one text.
It's if they're using emojis, you can use emojis back.
Yep.
It's very magic.
Yep. Don't overdo it, where I see people go wrong, unless somebody else is sending a ton. Is it okay if you call, text, and email at the same time? We do it all the time. It does not matter. They just respond in the channel that is best for them.
Yep.
Somebody gifts. Oh yeah, we use gifts all the time.
Don't overuse it, but yes.
Yeah, don't overuse it. That's a lesson we learned. We overdid it for a while. By the way, I forgot to compliment you on your Ted Lasso shirt. So.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah, I just got around to that. Okay. Let's see here. Somebody said they were talking yesterday with a neighbor and just received a 60-day notice. Somebody said football is life.
Football is life.
Football is life. There we go. We could go down a whole rabbit hole now. When somebody says they have a 60-day notice to vacate and they don't think they have enough saved for a down payment, there's a difference between objections and conditions, y'all. We need to become very aware of this. This is more of a condition. Condition is sometimes there's just realities of the world. What I would say is I would find out how much they have saved for a down payment, and I would ask that they had a conversation with an expert to discuss whether that's feasible or not. If they haven't, get them connected with one of your lender friends that can help have that conversation.
So one thing to add to that, Matt, if you're not doing this on the phone, text, email, whatever, walking that person through a ballpark of what their monthly payment might look like, given they have 10K to put down, they want their monthly payment around $2,500 a month. What can they afford? If you're not aligning expectations as an ISA, stop what you're doing and start doing that. Guys, it's very easy. Pull up Zillow Mortgage. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Zillow mortgage calculator.
All right, I'll say it. There's Google just mortgage calculator, and you'll find other ones too.
Exactly. Use a mortgage calculator to help walk that person through. Like, hey, so Robby, you have 10K saved up. So I'm just gonna do some simple math here. You have 10K saved up. You want your payment around $2,000 a month. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing as a ballpark. And again, and you need to say this, guys. I'm not a lender. This is just a best guesstimate. The ballpark. Yep. Don't use this as the gospel. Say, hey, I'm not a lender. This is just the best guesstimate.
Yep.
I'm seeing that if you have 10K saved up, you want your payment around $2,000, you can afford X.
I love it. All right.
That helps clarify things. There you go. Your Sierra Science calculator. It's true.
That's true. That's sweet. And then on top of that, if they have not done those things, I love that, walking through a rough number.
Yep.
Asking, have you, don't do it like, have you got pre-approved with somebody? No, too stiff, too formal. By the way, Matt, I know you kind of ran those numbers. Have you had a chance to talk to anybody about that yet, or maybe not at this point? A little more informal is going to get them to open up, because nobody likes talking financial numbers.
Someone asked about rates.
Matt, we got a few more minutes here. We got 1 more minute. What's the last thing people need to hear from you today?
Let's see, we covered mirroring and matching, motivation. Here is here's what I want to leave you all with. You're in a service-based industry. Your job is to serve. Putting people on an automated texting campaign is not serving them without any sort of justified decision to do that, without any sort of like high level and high commitment to a quality level of service. The leads in your database. Those are people with real stories, with real problems that you can help solve. It's your job as a lead converter ISA agent. If you don't have an ISA and you're an agent and here you are the ISA, it's your duty and your responsibility, your fiduciary responsibility, by the way, to serve that person. So just ask for permission to get on their side of the table. Ask for permission to see things from their perspective. I promise, guys, if you do this, people will open up, you'll set more appointments, but we have to be committed to the way that we communicate with people.
And I'll add to that, the automation is just the beginning when they respond.
Yep.
It's just the beginning. That's all it is. Matt, it's always fun to see you. I always tell people, this is like, I feel like the Jedi Master, and you were my Padawan, and it's fun to see you crush it, dude. So we will keep doing these. We try to do a webinar all the time. A couple of things that you should all know. First off, we have started a product called Live Sales Training. If you haven't checked it out, you're a fool. Matt, can you do me a favor? And actually, I can just put it in here right now. I'm just going to put it to someone's comment. Live Sales Training. No, it's realestatelivesalestraining.com. I almost messed that up. realestatelivesalestraining.com. And if you can't find it, let me know. Your first month is on us. It's free. And it's hosted by Matt, myself, Connor Johnson, Eric Hatch, Jordan Terrell, the Novaks, and Patrick Keller. And if you just like conversations like this, it's 2 hours long of just sales training, because we think that's the biggest thing people consistently need in this game. Make sure to go check it out. You can go to realestatelivesalestraining.com. And much love to y'all. Matt, what's your parting words?
Serve.
Serve.
Not be served. Serve. You're in a service-based industry.
It's love and serve others. And remember, love is an action, y'all. Get out there and love others. Thanks, Matt. Love you, bro. We'll talk later. Peace, y'all.